in here, but it feels like anything can happen, especially in these, I guess, odd games, 1 and 3 so far, which have been so incredibly close, eventually falling in favor of INTZ. So far, the bands haven't made a change just yet.
Yeah, the last time we saw INTZ on this side, they actually went for a first pick, Elise. It worked out well for them, but this time around,
those are the bands that are looking pretty standard for the moment.
This time around, I do want to see if Vladimir is available. We've seen talkers go really wild on that champion, and if it is found.
Vladimir, Elise, so many things available. Vladimir is not, it was banned, so the Shen.
Yeah, that is going to be the Shen first pick. So if it wasn't the Bloodlord, it was going to be the Ninja towards the top side. Is Yang going to get his hands on it for the first time so far this series? Not this tournament. Played it a couple of times so far this tournament.
Yeah, actually, that's like his most played champion. It's hard to say that simply because he has 2 games, both on Shen, Nar, and Echo. So we're seeing him back on him this time around, and this is a pick that I've actually wanted to see him on, simply because he's a nullifier in the lane.
Wow, Kire, he's going to get the Elise this time. It's going to be the Trundle picked up for Elwind on the top side. So good matchup into the Shen. Yang possibly going to have a difficult time in the late game. Now Revolta, what is he going to do?
And this is what we expected from Dark Passage and from the very beginning to go towards this style. They were going to be denied this Fiora pick, but if they ever had the opportunity to go for a Trundle and Elise, of course we're not sure if that Trundle is going to be a topside pick. Could just very well be an Irelia or honestly anything that works for the matchup.
Yeah, good point.
But yeah, this is what we expected from Dark Passage. Game 5, this is going to be what they're looking towards.
If Talkers did this, I mean, this is like Game 5 territory. Get the Talkers as here, but it's not going to happen as the Ashtam Kench going to be locked in towards the bottom side of the map for INTZ.
We got a global, a semi-global, and of course an ultimate ability that can really set up a play in this fight. So INTZ not looking for the even number fights. They have a lot of abilities to dive. Yeah, exactly.
Sounds very similar to Gobble Gobble Gobble, which makes a lot of sense when there's a Tom Kench on your team. I like it. Thematically correct. Also could work out well in the team composition.
I'll just put it down in my notebook. Wait for Thanksgiving to really get that joke going out there.
I don't think... Is there a Turkey champion? I mean, it's a Turkish team.
Oh, there we go.
That they're facing, but I don't know whether there's a...
That's a possibility.
Yeah, never mind. We are going
I
to
also
move
have
on.
no idea what a Thanksgiving is, so...
Ah, jeez.
Oh, dear. But 10 seconds to go. Dark Passage have been trying to make up their minds for this last pick. It is going to be the Lysandra and the Siva being picked up. So we will discover whether or not that is a top lane or support Trundle in the final pickup.
Either way, we're seeing a tried and true Dark Passage composition. We've seen a lot of success on this Lysandra. Success and failure, honestly, if it's coming out of Koski. So we're not really sure how it's going to turn out. But regardless of that, they have the option of now going towards their 1-3-1. They have the Sivir who can just stick mid and constantly wave clear. So they will have that split push pressure. Now onus is going to be on INTZ to see if they can get the necessary fights that they can go for. A Gragas hover, honestly, I'm a fan of that. Go straight back to the champion, but anything works here.
Yeah. I actually really like the lock-in of Lysandra here as well, given the history the CosQ has with playing Lysandra right after playing Cassiopeia. It hasn't been all that great. I think he went from 13-1 to 0-10 and wants to set the record straight here in game number 5. Get them into Worlds as Malzahar is the consideration for INTZ. It is going to be locked in with the Rek'Sai.
I just love the fact that we're going into Game 5 and both teams are really going back to the style that really made them, or at least put them where they are. Because INTZ, sure, they can go for those team fights, they can go for the skirmishes, but it's always going to be based off of their vision control. And right here, this is the best way to utilize your vision control. If you ever have pinks brought up properly, Ash Arrow, Shen
Quadra Global as well.
The Malzahar ulti as well. It's a lot of strength to being able to pick up a fight off your Snowballed vision.
And this is a much better front to back comp. I mean, Shen, the way this works is Shen dashes in, gets down the field, auto attacks aren't flying through anymore. The Ashe is lighting up your front line, kiting out that Trundle. Like this, as far as front to back goes, is much better. But there is a wild card. CosQ has got Lysandra. It looks like he's going to be looking for those deep teleport players. So if he can get behind, Protobelt onto the Ashe, be able to blow her up, there is always a possibility for this happening. But in saying that, Tahm Kench just makes it such a hard reality to live up to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always does have the opportunity to ult himself during the late game when those QSSs have been built. Things like that will still have relevance. And the Braum is going to be the final pickup. So that confirmed Trundle towards the top side. Makes a lot of sense into the Shen. Dark Passage with a lot of AoE damage potential, a fair bit of lockdown. Also some pick for themselves.
Honestly, early game, INTZ, of course, they're going to be looking to play towards bot side, especially once they hit level 6. You better believe a dive might be coming through. But for Dark Passage, I would be surprised if we didn't see a dive coming top side with Elise and Trundle. If you ever get a proper a skirmish, even just like a monkey skirmish where you just like smack each other.
Is that called a monkey skirmish? I've never heard that one.
I say it quite a bit, so it's probably just a me thing.
Oh, that is fantastic.
But if you ever just do it just to chip them down to a point where if you crash wave on tower, Elise can really get that dive going for you. You do have to put a lot of pressure on Shen for him to at least dissuade Revolta to be looking towards that bot lane dive.
It all comes down to this. Game number 5. The winner of this game goes to Worlds 2016 over in the US. We'll see a whole lot of pressure on INTZ with this home crowd. Dark Passage now need to win a game on the red side. No team in this series has done it so far. We'll see whether they have got the compositions that they wanted, that they need heading in. CosQ no longer with his coveted Cassiopeia, now on the Lissandra.
And we've seen our fair share of heartbreaks up until this point. Going up to World Qualifiers this year has definitely been heartbreak after heartbreak.
It's been up and down.
Exactly.
It has.
Game 5s everywhere. Simply just it's fantastic for the viewers, to say the least.
Yeah.
For the players, it's a roller coaster ride. And for Dark Passage and INTZ to get to this point, for Dark Passage, honestly, it's a surprise they got this far. Not only did they struggle to get out of the round robin, but to get up against INTZ and get it to Game 5, it was a struggle for them to even go in their own region and take it off of Supermassive. So, of course, they just blew that one out 3-0 at the end, but no one really expected that. Yeah,
it's a really good point. Yeah, onto the Rift. Game number 5, INTZ versus Dark Passage. Revolta, for the first time this series on the Rex side, we'll see whether he can get his farm on. And with Akire, his coveted Elise pick is going to come up trumps, as immediately we have a pause. We've been talking about it a lot, making sure that we bring up the anticipation as high as possible. And it has happened once again.
Certainly the game of the game right now. There is so much pressure on the INTZ lineup. You could see that, Tuck has turned around, so it might have been his computer that had a little bit of an issue. But when I have a look at, how these team comps line up against each other, I like that you bring up, Kirei's Elise, because if Revolta doesn't control that bleeding, it's going to be so incredibly hard to, make sure that this game goes for as long as it needs to really scale up. In regards to the fact that they've got the Ashe, they've got the Malzahar, they both need to probably hit 3 items for this to go in their favor. So it's going to be one of those interesting games about trying to keep Kirei out.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you the question of scaling here as well, because we all know that, Siva also scales quite well, but will it still be in favor of INTZ as far as that late game is concerned?
I think it just comes down to simple comfort. It really does. We've seen throughout the entire series, it has not gone the way we've planned it to, where early game composition is still coming out late game with a substantial team fight wins.
Yeah.
And honestly, just the Baron, I would like to say Baron fights, but they're a bit of a wash in that end.
Cloud Fiesta.
Exactly.
So the biggest thing to me is, what is a composition actually supposed to do? So, like, in regards to pure damage output, sure, the Dark Passage team comp probably does more pure damage until Malzahar gets like 6 items, because he builds Death Cap so late.
Yep.
But at the same time, if you deliver a Shen Rex out of the back line, they're probably going to kill Siva up until Siva has like 2 or 3 items. So that's an incredibly hard team fight to live through. So it's not just a DPS race, right? It's about how they execute upon it. I love the fact that, Yang and Revolta can dive the back line incredibly hard. It's much harder for Elwyn to get back there. So it really does come down to like how you're playing the game.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Dark Passage, especially with their comfort picks here, the Lysandra pick, the Trundle, and the Elise. There's so much comfort. They know how the matchups work. I mean, they've always known the matchups work, but the ability going into this game, I feel as if the the anticipation.
INTZ pulling back that fan vote. New Zealand's getting behind the home team.
They're daring to believe.
They certainly are. As Kozky's going to make his way down. That's a cheeky Q.
Actually makes Jock to take the tongue lash, however, which is a good news story because it means that the first camp is not going to be as quick. Might even have to go and try and disrupt the camp that's going down from the Civ of Braum, because otherwise he's not going to have much success.
Don't think they're actually just pushing the wave.
They're going to try and go for it, but they're definitely going to be late to their attack. But actually, no.
So they dragged the wave, and then they went and stopped it. So they made sure that the wave was going to push in their favor. Then they went and stopped it. Really smart move there. You saw that Revolta actually started on the Raptor camp. So, you know, as I was saying, if you have a very good AoE clear, you can go Raptor without using Smite and then go straight to your red buff for that level 2.
Well, Tongue Lash going to land through the minions there on Zeitnot. Lots of damage down from Macau as well. Answer that one back. See the top lane. Bit of a wet noodle situation. Curate fighting the Raptors. Also now up to his Wolf camp. So everything quiet so far. Looks like Rift Scuttler actually considered for a moment there, but Curate looking for the invade, and we'll see whether he finds Revolta.
This is really smart.
For a mid lane gank.
Early Raptor, early Wolf camp knows that he's there, but Tokas didn't respond.
Ooh. Whoa, the double flashes in, but Tokas flashes the right direction, gets himself out.
Wolf camp was actually pinged there. Curate walked through the jungle, and the Wolf camp had actually been smited by Revolta. So Toka's actually just not responding there. That's a strange one.
And Revolta actually looking for it here as well. Does have the... No, doesn't have the flash. Actually does, but didn't use it. So able to get out, but summon a spell burn.
They see this blue buff coming down, but they won't be able to actually contest it. No real numbers. Their Rek'Sai is topside, so even though they know Elise is there, the only real reward is that Elwin does have to play a little bit farther back.
Yeah, more than a little bit farther back. I mean, he has to get the heck out of dodge.
Whoa, there's the flash, and the flash taunt from Yang as well. They want first blood, and they'll give it to the Shen. That is great news in what would have been a difficult matchup.
I mean, 2 flashes go out, and the best thing about this is Minion Wave is firmly still in control of INTZ. Really heads up play. They expended a lot for it. Don't get me wrong, 2 flashes is a lot for first blood, but able to pick that one up. And they have the teleport, and they're going back for more.
Oh my god, Elwin. All right. He's still stuck in the same position.
Oh, knocked up once again. Yang not going to be able to get
but
any
he's half
sort of
health. I mean, yeah, you're right. Exact same position where the wave is pushing against him, and he hasn't really been able to do all that much.
Yeah, and Curate right now, even though he's trading out farm on the bottom side for that pressure is exactly what Curate needs. The farm's not going to really be able to do much, especially if he's looking to just trade out. So that's really heads up. Great play from Revolta to be able to tip that top side in his favor.
Yeah, good pings come out here from INTZ as well, noting exactly where Curate was walking around. Malzahar moves over to help out with this blue buff, so no danger from any sort of jungle gank. And the Spider going to slink back to the fountain, grab a first buy, and then head back out and see whether Curate can actually have an impact in this early game.
But once more time, CosQ is up pretty much 10 CS. I mean, he's 2 waves ahead just because double summoner spell was burnt so early into this game by Curate. So even though Curate didn't get a kill, he has pretty much equaled up the gold in that regard. They're trying to bait CosQ to go aggressive here. Revolta looking for a counter game.
Ghost almost up here for Tokas, but won't have the flash next 2.5 minutes. Shoves that wave out just fine.
Golly
goes
gosh,
back into the jungle.
Malzahar is a silly champion at times.
Yeah.
Jeepers.
With Elise and Lysandra, of course, the mentality is to be able to contest the push by simply looking to gank him outright.
Yeah.
But of course, even Revolta is just lying in the background to go for a counter gank, so that's not even going to work out.
Great hawk shot there. Actually threw it from an angle that it went over Raptor's red buff and the Krugs, ended up at the Krugs and spotted out the gank path. You can see now Alwyn and Yang looking to tango one more time. Here we go.
Yeah, gets the tunnel in there as Elwin taken down below half health. He's just going to be chased out. Not a lot of CC available here from the INTZ.
Yang actually needs to pull back because there's a lot of people joining in this regard. Elwin has to be forced back one more time, however, without teleport to get back into this lane.
Well, Talkers immediately cleanses. Oh no, it was just the shield. As Kozky's going to make his way through, but dies to Yang. As Stand United was picked up, he backs away one more time. His Kirei is looking to be able to get out. And Yang is really set up for success now towards the top side of the map.
That's a tilter right there. I mean, goes in, looks to auto attack, cancels the animation, and ultis the shield. I mean, a little bit overzealous there out of Kozky. Someone that has been mechanically performing this series.
Yeah. Especially at this point in the game, crowd just ecstatic. You know that you gotta tune it out because you don't want to tilt game 5.
Yeah, a soundproof headset does not stop the ground from shaking. Kirei is going to find this ward. See whether anyone is going to be heading towards this dragon pit at any point. Here's the Cloud Drake. Revolta is going to find Kirei. Jockster makes his way up as well as Tokkers doesn't have ultimate. Just going to provide a way out for the Elise as Kozky throws down the claw. The skittering spider moves back into his jungle.
Yeah, you can see Tokkers understood his mistake just a little bit too late. Tried to double back and get back out of the range. In saying that, it's just another really nice roam as we take a look at it.
Oh. So he was trying to do one of two things. Of course, the auto attack, but also trying to blow it up with his E as well. Not getting either, even though it was really close.
Yeah, that was so close.
Yeah.
So you can understand why you went for the play you went for, just the execution. Like the idea, 100% the right idea, execution a little bit off. And it's all about, you know, getting the burst damage through so the Shen just doesn't join at all. I mean, you factor in the case that he's going to have an extra 200 health and you still are going to kill him within that combo if the ultimate goes off.
Well, thankfully for Dark Passage, still only down by about 200 gold. They've been able to farm up very, very well this game. 20 CS the lead for Kozky still as he goes back to base. We'll see whether Tokkers is going to be able to even that one out, given some free time.
I mean, they're up in CS in every lane again. Jockster roams around so much for a support that it does kind of put Macau in a little bit of a disadvantage in these situations. Mid lane, of course, has been a little bit of a wash since Tokkers had his 2 summoner spells burnt. Yang had to leave, so... You know, Dark Passage still doing a good job of farming up here.
Yeah. Game looking very, very close. Yang able to get so much pressure. I feel like this lane is one that could go dangerously in favor of INTZ if nothing's done. As Owen once again losing out on the trade. Close to a Sunfire Cape versus a Longsword Doran's Blade. Bad news story for Elwind.
That's a major point to talk about, just the fact that Jockster is much more willing to actually leave the lane. That's happened not only in just this set, but throughout the regular split. Okay.
He just teleported back. Can't follow Yang anywhere, and there is no teleport out of Kozky. I mean, arrows available right now. They can just pull the trigger on the play.
Well, there's the ultimate. Speaking of pulling the trigger, the consume comes down as Jockster still wanting to go aggressive as Revolta wants to find his way in, doesn't get the tunnel as arrow used to disengage. And out goes Kirei. Yang finds his way through. The flash comes out of the Braum as over the side he gets the Nethergrass. Kirei's going to get melted. Doesn't get another Malefic Visions off. And it's going to be the one pick, but possibly even first brick to come out afterwards.
And that was the best case for Dark Passage because they did not have the wave, or INTZ did not have the wave there. They had to tank quite a few turrets, and they didn't have talkers immediately in the fight. So they did lose out one person. It could have been a lot worse for Dark Passage, simply because Elwin was not going to be able to join that fight either.
Yeah, 100% could have been much worse. And right now, Yang just teleports back top lane. That's a good news story. INTZ don't know that they're on top of a ward, so this is going absolutely nowhere, boys.
There we go.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. But, you know, they still are able to pick up another kill, continue to get Tokkers rolling in this mid lane. It was a really nice roam for him with priority because of the push, which you keep talking about. INTZ look a little bit more comfortable this game.
We'll see whether it pays off as the game continues. Dark Passage still with some opportunities. Still with a very, very close scoreline as far as that gold is concerned, despite 3 kills to 0 up the top. See, in fact, Kozky has more money than Tokkers. CS really doing some work.
Ah, the old 150. Damn it. Beaten by a refillable potion.
Beaten by 3 potions. Or 2 charges that recharge. Yeah, you're right. Tockers will be able to grab himself this blue buff. Yeah, once again looking for the bottom lane as Kire already there.
They're all there, actually. This is going to be a very hard shove. Revolta has ulti to get back down there, so they probably have to pull away.
Yeah, they were definitely looking for a dive on that one. With Lissandra, with Elise, that dive was 100% a possible one. No one there. They didn't want to waste the time.
Arrow going to come in as Rogu unable to juke it. He's just going to get consumed. Macau able to grab it with 1 auto attack. That's all the time, Kench.
Hand delivered by the chef. A meal for the taking. Get you a little bit more fed, my AD carry. And Macau says, thank you very much.
Bon appetit, I believe. The phrase. Teleport coming in here as well as the bottom lane so full of action right now. Macau, can he get out of the way? The consumes there. Flash out of the way of the cocoon. INTZ look untouchable this game.
Yeah, and a teleport was used that time, Raz. Dark Passage getting a little bit more desperate in their plays.
Yeah, they thought that was definitely a play in their favor, but losing out in TP now without a TP advantage whatsoever, double TP gone, means that INTZ can actually just pressure down this turret for free.
Yeah, as soon as Ash Arrow is back available, you know, as soon as the Shen's getting in there, they can just rinse and repeat the play that they've ran so many times. And Elwin needs to be careful because he doesn't really win these trades all that effectively at this stage of the game.
Almost has his Ravenous Hydra, but it is a finished Sunfire Cape.
He went in for the early Vamp Scepter, which he has been doing on the Trundle. So he's able to take the trades, and then once the wave starts bouncing back towards him, he's able to sustain a little bit more. So it's the long con. You take the bad trade, realize much later that
it was a good trade.
Jock's now caught up a little bit.
Yeah, and he is going to get Cocoon underneath this turret, yet no Stand United to work out as Kotsky flashed it, not in range of the ult.
Oh.
Winter's Bite's not going to land. There's Kure coming in. He's able to lock down at least the Q. Nice point blank arrow as another Winter's Bite's going to go wide. Cocoon lands, and Kure says, why am I the only one that can land a button?
Yep, one of them had to land it. That's all they really needed.
But that was a horrible decision-making process out of Jockster. He actually walked at the turret and was destroyed. At the same time, it made Yang use an ultimate, so all of a sudden Dark Passage back in control of the bottom side of the map. Kure now a huge threat. And, you know, just miss execution one more time. The idea was right there, but they weren't able to get it done.
Yeah, he should never be in a position where he's autoing the tower. Jockster just needs to be the insurance line here for when these towers are taking it. He's putting himself in that spot.
He's going to die again.
Yeah. Abyssal Voyage going to get him towards the bottom side. Tongue Lash comes out onto Zeitnot, but there are 3 members here. And that tower is very low. Cocoon lands once again. Winter's Bite also going to miss.
Malzahar's in here.
Yeah, on the hunt is going to be used as Rogu covers no distance with the stand behind me and is going to get Nethergrass, but it's just not enough. And the silence isn't going to land either. Good ultimate out from Zeitnot to make sure that he does get out.
The seesaw is still going. I mean, as we have another look at the play in the bottom lane, Jockster just walks in, doesn't get Shen ultied soon enough, doesn't pop Grey Health, falls down, great execute out of Kure. Kozq flashes pretty much on the spot again. And Macau puts on the happy feet to dodge as many spells as possible.
And of course, the Shen ulti.
Line.
One big point too is the extra shield of Shen ulti was coming down on Jockster, so that's another global taken off that one.
But Nearly is back available, as is the Ash Arrow, and they have recalled in sight now, so maybe we'll see another push come in for that bottom lane turret. Elwind is doing a very good job, given the fact that he's 2 kills down, of getting some priority back in this top lane. Actually, looks like Yang might have to teleport back up there. He's just being continually shoved off minions.
Yeah. Actually not going to back here as well. 12 CS behind, but the Shen forced to stay. Back going to come in from Elwind. Will give him enough space to just wander back top. Teleport just came back off cooldown. And the Ravenous Hydra is now done. We'll see what else he can actually purchase. Looks like just a pink ward. He's going to make his way out. Yeah. Menagerie.
That would have been a great gank if he had to walk anywhere near the creeps to clear it out.
Just Malzahar, I guess.
This is the best thing about the champion. Sip a cup of coffee.
He is so safe. He is just an incredible save laner. And And, you know, even the Cassiopeia matchup, which I agree is a very good matchup for the Cassiopeia, Malzahar still has a choice of just farming in that.
Yeah, he does. In fact, it's even much worse because not only can he farm, he can just walk out of vision, and then Cassiopeia would be put in a situation where she can't follow that gank.
Yeah.
And so Malzahar once again just comes through at a proper point.
Well, now Cow just continuing to farm towards the bottom side. Drogo and Zayt not doing a very good job staying ahead in farm, despite all of the action that has broken out. Essence Reaver almost done with this Sivir. It looks like Macau once again going for the Renans plus the Infinity Edge.
Yeah, speaking of farm, even though it's 4-2 in INTZ's favor, it really is an even game.
They're looking for the play bottom lane again. Tahm Kench is behind them.
Here we go.
A lot of back pings coming in as Kirei already has to flash himself out of the way. Rogu with the stand behind me has to flash as well as Tokkers gets the flash ulti. Able to pick up that kill. It's going to be Macau that picks it up.
They just keep going for the same play. I mean, this time Jockster ults so far behind them, but they just give over 650 free gold.
Yeah. They're going to look to try and answer, but if Trundle looks to honestly pressure this next tower for free, Yang would have to be forced to TP to her, but I'm not going to be looking for that.
And I've seen this show before. This is the Elwyn show, where he just split pushes all game and then eventually split pushes towards the Nexus and beats it to death.
Though that was on Fiora, so definitely not going to be nearly as mobile.
Oh, she's got that fancy little sword thing. This is a big old club. That'll take it down. That's just fine.
Cow actually looking for the one-on-one here.
Yeah, gets the slow with the frost shot. Hawk shot, not going to do enough damage.
Eating the entire wave, though.
Yeah. It's not great.
Definitely not good for his health.
There we are. Public service announcement.
Too many calories in that creep wave.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Tongue Lash. Not going to deliver any mana to Zayt, not this time.
You can see that once again, though, Dark Passage moving the jungler and mid laner down into Fog of War.
This is beautiful.
Turret is so low.
Both teams are pinging towards this bottom side right now.
Oh, cute little claw. Gets Kozkyu over to the side. There's the ultimate. But Frozen Tomb not going to be enough. A teleport coming down as well now that the turret was already done.
Yeah, there was maybe an option to turn and fight because they had the Ash Arrow available. Shen was willing to teleport in for that one, but because the Malzahar hadn't moved from mid lane, they didn't want to ultimately pull the trigger and give up even more split push priority to this Trundle. Instead, they cancel the teleport.
Yeah, and look, Elwyn just owns this top side of the map as Tokkers throws down the Abyssal Voyage. In comes the Tahm Kench as well as Revolta gets the flash knock up. Elwyn does have the ultimate running. My God, he survived for a long time. And Kozkyu now, no mana at all. Going to get himself over to the side. There's a good cocoon onto Jockster, the Grey Health. He's going to give him a lot of regen. That is a good pick onto the top lane out of Dark Passage. But if that's a sign of things to come look scary.
Yeah, that's the major point about Tahm Kench. Not only is he great in delivering or taking your nice carries to safety, he's also good at delivering them to the actual fight itself. So you cannot walk all too far, even though Elwyn has himself a good enough lead in being able to consistently split push. He can't. He has to be more aware of the enemy positioning at that point.
It's just about warding the entrances. I mean, we go back to it, but there was 3 people converging on him before TK even got there. He burnt the flash to get away from it. And, you know, Revolta did match, but at the end of the day, they could have just let Elwyn burn flash, and even without the Tahm Kench there, he would have still been overextended. So just needs a little bit more awareness of, you know, bottom lane needs to be set up, or mid lane needs to be shoving in for me to be this deep, because otherwise they're just going to rotate through the jungle and be able to pick me up. And now without flash, he really can't overextend that far, because if he goes down, Malzahar, Baron, we've already seen how quickly it falls. There's just lots of things on the map right now that INTZ can play with. Dark Passage have the exact same advantage, right? They can run people down. The map is nice and open right now for the Sivir, but INTZ are definitely playing much more within themselves than what Dark Passage are right now.
Well, you can see, speaking of the Sivir, now clearing out minions towards the mid lane. The 1-3-1 in full effect here for DP. Kozkyu now with a blue buff as well, so we'll be more happily clearing out minions over and over again with those spells. Happy to spend the mana. Jockster almost has the Abyssal Voyage, just came back up. can use that.
Rogu needs to be careful. Arrow is available. Definitely could have been a pick waiting to happen there.
It's going to come out just yet. Nice cocoon, but Revolta able to clear out the pink ward.
This
doesn't find anyone.
This should be a fairly awkward point for INTZ where they can't really force anything.
Well, Tockers gets the ult onto Kozq, but not going to get quite enough damage down as it's Kozq's turn to get the work done. Kirei's able to lock down the kill as they are going to trade. Both mid laners are dead as the ultimate comes through from Rogu in a great position. As Macau can't actually get any auto attacks down. Kirei looking for the cocoon, finds it onto Jockster. That is a priority target for this lockdown. As there's the flash, Kirei gets another one. Flashes coming from everyone in answer. As the concussive blows is going to do a bunch of work. Good tunnel to get Revolta out of trouble. That Winter's Bite not going to land, and Dark Passage cannot follow up.
And I really want to see what knocked Yang out of his ultimate, whether it was a pillar or whether someone just died too early, because he wasn't able to join there, and that's what the determining factor was. The fact that there was no Shen meant that they were able to run over the rest of the team fight, pick up the extra kill, and now shove in on this bottom wave.
Yeah, they've got a decent minion wave too.
The best thing about this top lane matchup in general is that Yang, he has to be back in base if he does want to look for a Shen ulti or a TP.
Here's a very deep flank.
Here we go.
Yeah, some low health bars here at the same time as Yang gets cocooned. Rogu wants to try and sacrifice himself, but that taunt was incredible.
It was so good we had to pause.
Yeah, just need to soak it in. As he's able to pick up the kill as well. There's the Nethergrasp onto Kozq, who's just going to get caught out of position to celebrate how incredibly good that taunt was. Elwind will take down a turret on the other side of the map, but man, what a follow-up from
timing
ITZ.
On the Malzahar ultimate was perfect there. Kozq wanted to take the claw over the wall, wasn't able to do it. Priority still on this bottom lane. However, with 3 members dead, they can look towards mid, they can look towards Baron. The world is INTZ's oyster. If they get nothing, it's probably going to be a bad thing for them.
Generally.
I mean, Alwyn's just getting massive, and I think that was honestly an opportunity to go for the Baron play. Instead, they just try and chip away at the mid lane turret. It will fall down, but that's pretty late.
They definitely should have gone for a Baron. They do have Macau with ulti. That was very possible that they can just go for it. If they do get contested, they can take the next fight and really just snowball that from there. Regardless, they got the mid tower. They had a free pink put behind the pit for Baron. So they're just going to be able to trade position and the opening of the map.
Yeah, it's going to still be actually a gold lead for Dark Passage, given the fact that they have taken down 3 turrets already. That inner falling towards the top side of the map, as well as that bottom outer turret. And they will be able to grab themselves this first Cloud Drake. And Infernal is going to be the next one. So the big deal coming up in 6 minutes. Elwind now gets to work on the bottom side. Flash now back available and also has the Iceborne Gauntlet, so his chase potential now under the Shen. Something that does have to be feared.
Yeah, the one advantage Dark Passage do have is their 2 towers advantage. They've just been split pushing the entire time, 1-3-1. And if it is not a 1-3-1, then it's a 1-4. At every point, they've always were able or are able to just trade out pressure with either Trundle or Lissandra.
Shen heading in onto the Lissandra as well as Rek'Sai top lane.
Kozq is going to be able to get himself over the wall. The slowdown onto Yang as Abyssal Voyage is going to come in towards the top side. Kozq going to get the claw over, but that is
caught out.
Yeah, just going to spell Kirei's death. As the Lissandra unable to save his jungler as well. There's the shutdown as Yang takes some Baron damage. Elwind able to help secure the mid-outer turret. So in the end, tower for kill.
But at the same time, it is the jungle and they have a huge super tank in the Shen right now. They should just be able to move towards this and start it up. I mean, still have the Nethergrasp available if they want to turn around and fight instead.
Interesting decision. They see the ward. They do not want to look to contest it. They're forcing Dark Passage into this fight.
Oh, there's the claw. Kozq is going to die, but does get a lot of damage down. Unfortunately, nothing else can really come of it as Revolta's going to deliver a Shen to Zeitnot. Doesn't get the taunt.
Wrong side of the map, though, for him.
Yeah, it's a good flash as Elwind is going to be able to trade another turret. Zeitnot on the hunt has been popped, and Revolta probably not going to be able to catch up, but the rest of the team, we're going to try and get round. Zeitnot probably just wants to clear out the minion wave, get as much farm as he can, and then look for the execute, but Prey Seeker going to avoid that one.
Here comes the next wave.
So in the end, he falls down, and now they do have a window where there's no AD carry available. They have Baron buff. and they should be able to shove up and start taking some creep waves. They do have the gold lead, even though it's 1 turret to 5. And Dark Passage, they're trying to get very cute here. They contest with only 3 members, however. I think that if anything, you go for maybe a steal with the Lissandra and then just get everyone else out of dodge, because they shouldn't have lost another couple of members.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely should have, at the very least, committed more people towards that mid tower, shove in the next wave, and then back away entirely. They're not going to get the fight. They're not going to get Baron unless there's some miracle play. They didn't even go for the miracle play. They just looked for the fight afterwards. So overall, they're doing a good job in just keeping the game, even though it looks fairly hard. 14-4. Baron on INTZ's side. They're keeping the game in their side in terms of the map at the very least.
Yeah, and it's also like not even 1,000 gold in the lead for INTZ with a Baron buff, 14-4 in kills. Like, feels like this should be far more one-sided.
But there is just so many turrets available for the taking. Alwyn, however, has ulted up Yang and is just slapping it down.
Yeah, that subjugate, pretty powerful, as now Yang caught between the turret and a troll and a pillar. That is not what you want.
And Asher are missed on the top side of the map, so there's no way that they can engage this fight. INTZ going to have to back away, so they trade 1 turret for 1 turret, even with Baron buff. Elwyn's just unstoppable.
All of a sudden, it's 6 turrets to 2 as well.
Exactly.
So that whole outer... Like, there's only inhibitor turrets remaining here for INTZ.
Yeah,
know exactly what they want to do.
It's going to be very difficult for Elwind at this point, because he has taken all of the outers and the inners. There is nothing you can take at this point. I know the inhib turrets are up, but at this point, if he's smacking those turrets, then INTZ is doing something wrong.
Koski not going to follow that glacial path. Nakure looking for a cocoon, lands it onto Macau. Decent poke. You're not going to get the splash onto the Ash. Dark Passage do manage to stave off INTZ pressure. Revolta, with that Void Rush available, is able to get the push towards the top side.
I mean, he's higher level than Kozq. Exactly what Elwind was doing to Yang on the opposite side of the map, Revolta can do to Kozq right now.
Yes.
A lot of the wave clear is now missing, as there's the Abyssal Voyage going to be used. INTZ do head over this turret, as there's the Flash Cocoon. Macau immediately has to use the QSS and get consumed by Jockster. And now can they defend this inner turret? That is the question. As you can see, Trundle still pushing on the bottom side. Look at that. Those ricochets doing work.
Rek'Sai at this point is actually going to be able to nullify a lot of the split push pressure coming in. Not only does he have a dead man's plate, but he has a Tiamat as well. I guess now he's going for a little bit more team fight and gets the Aegis. Unfortunately, I would like to see a little bit more of a selfish build, perhaps even going towards that Spirit Visage.
Battle Dolphin.
Yep.
But right now, you know, Dark Passage's back is against the wall. We keep mentioning that if Elwind is hitting the base turrets, there should be a big response out of INTZ, either in the form of the collapse or, you know, getting a cross-map objective. You know, Yang's going to be able to join twice as frequently, and as long as they're picking the right fights here, INTZ, you know, off the back of the Ash Arrow, off the back of Tokka's ultimate, they should be able to lock down key members and really make it difficult for Elwind to make the right decision. But as of right now, he has been able to do majority of the time. He's the only thing really keeping them in this game.
Yeah.
Now Macau going to undo a lot of his hard work towards the bottom side, pushing that one out. This outer turret should fall relatively easily and will spell approximately a 1.3 thousand gold lead.
And see, this
That's
is
an Infernal Drake. I mean, Revolta's doing that on top of a ward. They might actually look to contest this one. 2 people stop recourse, however, to be able to go towards it and help him out.
That's the thing right now, is that Dark Passage, they've taken all of the objectives that were available to them. The outer towers are finally all down for INTZ, and they can only take more at this point.
And you know, it's strange because professional teams should be able to calculate the gold gap. I mean, we're looking at it on our screen, we're saying it's like only 800 gold. It's not that much. But when you look at 14-4 and the momentum and how the game's been played, and the fact that so much of the gold is on Trundle because he's Flame Horizoned Yang and has got all the local gold from not only like first structure, but all the other subsequent turrets. If he's not able to execute in the team fights, then there's just no way you win at this stage because so much of it is on Elwind, and he's committed to this split pushing build.
Yeah, exactly. And he has a lot of CDR to his name, so his pillars are actually going to be quite impactful. But the fact that he has went towards this Ravenous Hydra, means he is going to commit to this split push, and if he doesn't, then he can actually just get blown up and kite backwards. So his pressure just needs to be in a tanking form and allow CosQ to be able to flank on the side. If CosQ cannot get a flank going for himself, then they will lose out in that team fight.
Elwind as well is just going back now, but probably has enough to finish something like a Randuin Zoman. No, Guardian Angel. So outright GA, and that is going to mean 5 items for the Trundle. Only one more slot, but does have a Doran's Blade, so theoretically full build.
Should probably sell it for a pink ward, but doesn't look like he's going to. Baron's up in about 30 seconds, so this is a huge opportunity right now for INTZ. Elwind is a massive threat, don't get me wrong, especially now that he's picked up the GA, but I just don't see how he gets onto Macau and blows him up in these team fights, or even, you know, slowly jewels him to death. So if INTZ are able to set up their deep vision, which they have, get a pick either with the Ash Arrow or with the Malzahar ultimate and start up this Baron, definitely is their way to close out this game.
With how strong of a tank line INTZ have in Shen, Rek'Sai, and Joxer, the biggest point too is the fact that Malzahar will not take much damage at all from this Baron. They can actually just look to start it, take any team fights coming forward.
There's some poke out onto Rogu as he tries to get a ward in that pit.
The longer they stall this out with Trundle looking to split directly against Yang.
Yeah, the worse off it is for them.
Yeah.
They need to actually just start up the Baron. I mean, they have... Oh, they actually went for a rotate.
Yeah, just going to look for it. Elwind going to get chain CC'd, but the Subjugate doing work. That actually gave him some time to get it back up. He's got a GA, remember. This guy's going to take a lot of killing. And now you can see Dark Passage move straight onto this Baron. Elwind's still not dead. Just keep fighting it out, man. Is he even killable? I don't even know as Revolta is going to get into this pit. Yang gets the ultimate down. Dark Passage look for more. They were able to take down the 80 carry off the back end. Revolta's in trouble as Yang looks so tanky in this front line. Zeitnot has to be very careful. Good exhaust as he's trying to kite, but good smack on the back of the head after the flash. And Curate going to avoid the taunt, but Rogu not going to be as lucky. Good flash. Gets him out of the way. And that is going to be Tockers grabbing the kill onto the Lissandra.
I mean, you asked a question about Elwind, but Yang is just as unkillable right now, 6-0 and 8. And he is able to 1v3 pick up the AD carry, and that means that Baron will be started off for INTZ. That's
incredible. That was the best situation for Dark Passage, for them to get alone time for Baron. They can't take it down quickly, and they were able to peel Yang back and actually ulti and impact that fight quite a bit.
Well, you can see Yang was looking for Itsy Bitsy Spider. Not going to even poke their head in, so the Baron once again going to go over to INTZ. The lead's still not large. They've got so much standing gold to pick up and now so much pressure to offer here. 6-0-8 for Yang Shen. Despite the fact that his lane has been difficult in the 1v1, he's been able to get so much work done around this map.
Yeah, that was really risky from INTZ to look for that pick. They committed 4 people to that entire engage to try and kill down Elwind, because he was just going to continue to split push. They knew that Dark Passage just didn't have the ability to burn it fast enough.
Yeah, and that's what it came down, right? They gambled on the fact that they could kill Elwind with the Malzahar quicker than Dark Passage could take down the Baron, and Yang would be able to get that impact. And they came up trumps. I mean, that's what it's about in a Game 5 situation, to be able to roll the dice and make a very brave call. Secures them Baron number 2, and you can see that the crowd's pretty receptive to it. Going to be able to push in now.
Yeah, this inner turret is not going to be long for the world. The Baroned up minions are going to tank it very easily. INTZ pushing forward to the inhibitor turret. And it just doesn't look like a whole lot that Dark Passage can do against these Baroned up minions. Revolta takes a bit of damage from Zeitnot there. And they're trying to clear it out, but the inhibitor turret falls. INTZ don't want to bite off too much. As you can see, CosQ actually off to the side. He was pushing out that top wave.
Yeah, they pulled him in now. They're looking to defend this. They do not want to give away this inhib. This would be a massive amount of failure.
Ooh, CosQ doesn't go in on the Glacial Path. Probably a good idea. These crit ricochets doing work with Zeitnot, but we'll have it on cooldown for the next couple of seconds.
Yeah, they're just waiting on Yang to bring the creep wave in the mid lane up to the turrets. You can see that people have to go across and respond to that now. He can just continue to nurse them into the base. Getting close to do or die time for Dark Passage. Wouldn't be surprised if we see Elwind and CosQ go into the base and try and get a teleport gank on what is that blue ward near the blue buff. Well, it doesn't look like they want to pull the trigger on it.
Another cute little pillar comes out of Elwind, but that inhibitor fell just for free.
Even
Dark
though
Passage couldn't defend.
Even though Zeitnot right now is 0-3-3, the fact that he was able to upgrade his BF sword into that IE, he's going to be that much stronger in these team fights. Looks like Elwind got caught here.
Yeah, Arrow is going to land. Merc Treads paying dividends right now, gets him out of the stun before any follow-up could actually occur. On the hunt was blown.
But they've zoned him away from the turret. Now all of a sudden they have inside track into pushing down mid lane. See whether they can get anything going here. As Elwind, you can see, he's gone. He's committed to the life of a solo Trundle.
Yep.
He wants nothing to do with this team fighting shenanigans.
I am back under the bridge. What's happening? He's going to be able to shove that one through. So, of course, no option as far as going up top, taking down that inhibitor turret. Dark Passage should be able to hold on for the remainder of their base, but Baron Inhib has been taken.
3 members one more time onto this pesky troll.
Oh, Elwind. He's taken a whole host of damage. Melanomicon helping out there as well as Yang is able to pick up that kill, and that was much faster that
Didn't
time.
get to ult. That was all it was. He got knocked up into taunt, into silence straight away. No ult coming through from Elwind, so it looks like he's a little bit butter when that happens. Not able to ult the tanky Shen. And now they have some priority to push up the mid lane. This has become a little bit of a wash just because, you know, the Trundle went so far towards split pushing and no one else really has any gold. But in saying that, if INTZ don't close this game out soon, they're in trouble.
Well, they're looking to try and do that as Kirei's going to get focused down. He flashes out of the way, but 2 kills immediately for Revolta. That is going to spell the end of the inhibitor turret, possibly the inhibitor, and possibly the game as INTZ looking to try and close this one out. You can see there's still some wave clear available, but there's the Nethergrass. Yang grabs the kill. That is 2 as the ace comes in for INTZ, and Brazil's champions will now be INTZ representing their home country, which is where this is being played. The fairy tale's complete. Yang finishes off the Nexus, and congratulations to our new team qualified for Worlds.
Yeah, INTZ from the CB LOL. I mean, a very good performance out of them. You can see it means the world. I mean, they had a lot of pressure. Choking was being thrown around left, right, and center. They had such a good group performance, and now to finally close it out in 5 games against a very gutsy Dark Passage, it's a good performance.
Yeah, and what a game 5 to finish on as well. I mean, INTZ in control for the majority of the game, able to pick up all the champions that they want. And Spawn, you mentioned the fact that Yang was unable to get all of the champions that he wanted. That Shen was everywhere, controlling what was a split-pushing Trundle that was, you know, taking way too many turrets, but in the end was able to take control of the situation. Just brilliant out of the top laner.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what it came down to. The fans are going wild here. Of 2 teams, 2 styles that really shine through. The split pushing style that Elwind was able to split push for a long time, able to take down tower after tower after tower, always looking to trade, but those trades in the end of the day didn't really mean much because Shen was able to weather the storm and then just come into the fight with his TP and his ulti.
Oh my goodness, this is fantastic. The Jocks are going for a ride. INTZ have finally made it to the world stage. Revolta also getting lifted up. You saw the huge smile on the jungler's face. The man who made it back into the team and now has got his world's qualification.
It really is a feel-good moment. This team, astronaut right behind them. They are pretty much flying sky high. They really did want... Of course, everybody wants this moment to be able to go to Worlds, but they've time and time again put in so much time, put in so much effort, so much investment to get to this point. They brought back their team, perhaps without Loop, sure, but Joxer's the support. The team came back, Revolta, back from keyed stars.
Yeah.
Reformed who they were before and finally got this position. Now back to Worlds, or now going to Worlds for this first time.
Yeah, and you know, this is a squad that pretty much first IWC we saw
Yeah.
Represented the country, lost out to Turkey, you know, beating them this time around. That was for MSI. This one's obviously for the world spot. This has to be very good for INTZ.
And INTZ have always been favorites heading in. We've always thought that this team has looked so incredibly good. It will be very difficult for anyone to be able to take them down. This time, they have managed to prove that they are that team. And will be able to do it on the world stage as well. It's just such a long time coming, but has finally arrived. And we wish them all the best as they move on to Worlds.
And their coach Abaxio always by their side. Ah, look at them. This is an incredible moment simply because Brazilian teams, when they have gone to Worlds, they've always done so well, but they've never brung their best.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Goodness.
Yeah, no, so, and you're completely right. I mean, Pain had a terrific showing at Worlds last year. Probably the best showing ever out of an IWC region. And still going into that final, it was this team on your screen, INTZ, that were probably favorites to go in. I mean, Pain played terrifically well. They proved that they definitely deserved their spot. But now finally INTZ being able to, I guess, reclaim that. It's going to be Revolta hoisting up a Brazilian flag. You honestly just love to see it.
Yeah. And as well as the fact that they have been brought down to the wire. This team has been tested so much from Dark Passage. They need to be commended for this performance because Dark Passage, we weren't expecting this from this team. INTZ, for all intents and purposes, should have rolled them over. They did in the group stages. Dark Passage really came to play. Game number 5 was honestly all INTZ and shows that even after 4 games of slugging it out against this team, they were able to play smart League of Legends and make the right decisions when it counted to win the game.
Exactly. That's a great point. And it really did come down to the fact that I'm fairly certain, right? Blue side came through from the very beginning to the very end. INTZ, hats off to Dark Passage. That team did quite well in this.
Quite well. They were like legitimately like a split push away from making Worlds with 2 subs.
Yeah.
Dark Passage surprised the heck out of everyone today. Yeah. I mean, able to step up. They had lots of very visible issues during the group stages. But to take INTZ, a team that probably was a favorite at the start and definitely was second favorite after Lion coming in on the back end of that group stage, to be able to turn it around like that was really good. I mean, all INTZ has lost against this tournament now is Lion, who is above them, and the Achilles heel of Oceania, who they've never beaten. So, like, INTZ had definitely proven that this tournament, that they are world-class in that regard.
Yeah, exactly. And it really does show, now that they've gotten their world ticket, how far could they go? We've never seen a wildcard team go past group stages. It might be a fairy tale. It might be a fairy tale, but we don't know how the draw is going to turn out. Knock on wood, especially since
touch of wood.
Especially since it is the case that last time we saw Pain, they did take a game away from Flash Wolves, and so we bring in INTZ.
Yeah, they also beat CLG.
Yeah,
Pain picked up 2 wins in the group stages, and they nearly beat Flash Wolves again. The second time that they played Flash Wolves was incredibly close. So I follow the sentiment. I mean, Wildcard team last time around was definitely able to come and make some waves. You check out Revolta one more time with the Brazilian flag in front of the fans. It was one of those worlds where you felt that Pain were on the cusp of taking like greatness, but weren't just able to do it.
Yeah, we are going to have a look at some of the highlights here from that final game. INTZ really giving it their best, especially early on, right underneath this turret as Tockers arrives in the nick of time.
Certainly did. Maybe could have followed up for another kill, to be honest, there, Tockers, but they played it calmly. They were able to take the turret, eventually take the turret off the back end of one of those plays. This was a huge double TP, and Yang nailed a couple of members there. Probably would have had Curie as well. And then just in the nick of time, the ultimate comes out of Tockers to foil KOSQ's day. It was really a team effort, however, across the map. Time and time again, they were committing to these global plays and able to make them work.
Yeah, exactly. And if any one of those plays didn't work, if Dark Passage was able to disengage at all, they would have had actually a proper trade where Elwin was getting a split push pressure going. He was getting a CS advantage working for him and chip on tower. But at every point, INTZ came with a plan, came with a proper strategy, and committed to it.
Yeah, 100%. And this is Yang going massive one more time. I mean, we were talking about how long it took to kill Elwyn, but look at him. He's just got the AD carry, the support, the jungler. He's been exhausted. He gets flashed away from, and he still manages to pick up Zeitnot. Really solid play out of the top laner of INTZ this game.
Yeah, smashing down, and that was able to get them the Baron buff as well. And after that, INTZ, so much control. Look at this engage. Just have so much confidence moving in at the end of this game.
And I mean, and if you show that, like, sure, they have a pretty big gold lead at this stage of the game, but if you show that clip to anyone, I mean, that's a terrific turret dive execution. Getting 2 people in the Rek'Sai tunnel, getting a 4-man taunt off the back end of it with a very early piggyback coming through from Yang to make sure that he's immediately in the back line. INTZ definitely are one of the smartest wildcard teams I've ever seen, and when they do execute, they look very polished.
Yeah, they most certainly do, and as well as we look at INTZ and they get better and better as tournaments progress as well. We saw early on, I mean, even Chaos Latin Gamers did bring it to INTZ. However, as we got further down the group stage, they matured and honestly were unbeaten in the last few days. We'll see whether that is going to be the same. I mean, maybe Worlds will have a difficult day one, but we'll see INTZ really come back.
Exactly, and that's just the nature of the group stage, where a lot of teams came in, they knew how much one game meant. Lose one game and you really are in a troubling position. And so INTZ came in. They came in timid. They had games where they could have just taken it from the beginning to the end, but they didn't really press that button. They didn't really go as aggressively as they wanted to.
Yep.
And of course, as the tournament went on, there was a real threat that they would get kicked out of the group stage. One loss was all it needed. And so they played aggressively. Second half of the tournament, they really just smashed it through. And so the fact that they were able to get into the finals, and of course it was a close one. But they performed, and that's all they really wanted. And they curved, I guess, the perception that they are a choking team.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it gets down into Game 5, and they get something that they're incredibly comfortable on, right? And they absolutely execute flawlessly. So I think that perception can be thrown out. But just talking about the wildcard regions in general, I mean, you mentioned KMV, the Chaos Latin Game is there. They had a really impressive showing a little bit as well, but that is your MVP for game number 5. Not surprised.
Yeah, Yang had a phenomenal performance. 8-0-11 as well. Undying and looked unkillable. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it certainly did. Yang, for me, was one of the players of the group stages. I mean, he really stepped up. He showed why Gnar is such a priority pick. Then he showed that he can beat it. He had 3 bans thrown at him in game number 1. I mean, a couple every other game after that. Never saw Gnar, never saw Gangplank. It's just such a high-pressure clutch player, and showed that if he gets his 3rd best champion, he can still put in work.
Yeah. Exactly. And throughout the entire group stages, he was the first place. He was in first place in terms of kill participation, and it showed in that game alone. He was in 2 plays at the same time. Not only the bottom play, but at the same time the Baron play in general, because of his Shen ulti. So Shen feels like a natural champion for him, simply because not only can he impact his own lane, but he can actually look towards the rest of the map and how that works for him.
Yes.
And it's a massive shout out to him as well. When he goes 8-0-11, his lane opponent was 0-4-0. I mean, Elwyn just not in the lane at all, but he was always able to get up against him. I mean, a lot of the towers that were taken with Yang there. It's not like he was off there trying to, do other stuff. He was always trying to counteract the Trundle. However, still able to get that stand united when he needed to, still able to get the teleport plays. So really impressive.
Yeah, there was only one play bottom lane where he wasn't able to get it in. That was the one that went pear-shaped. Afterwards, he gets a big, deep teleport flank. So yeah, Yang played really well. I think INTZ as an overall squad cleaned it up in that last game. Tokka's played much better. In the last game, Jockster wasn't getting caught out of position as much as he was in the first couple. So, as a unit, they tidied it up. But, Dark Passage, a team that we didn't expect much out of. New support player, 2 16-year-olds can't play in this tournament. 2 subs come in. They do an incredibly good job. I mean, we saw the fall of Southeast Asia this time around, but the rise of Lion Gaming, the CIS region, they came 4th, but really 3 teams finished on equal scorelines.
Yeah.
Exactly.
This was an incredibly close IWC tournament. And, INTZ, first representative going to Worlds, definitely a deserved one at that.
They most certainly are. And, of course, we are going to have another team being promoted to Worlds qualification as well tomorrow night. It's going to be between Lion Gaming and Albus Nox Luna. Both of these teams looking very, very scary. And I was honestly surprised when Albus Nox Luna qualified in 4th, to be honest, because to me, after for the first few days, they looked like the team to beat, and then Lion Gaming just streamed through and went completely nuts. And you can see this one is going to be tomorrow.
You say they went completely nuts. This is a team that beat Lion Gaming.
Yeah.
So they didn't go that nuts. I mean, Albus Nox was able to pull it back.
I said at the beginning.
Yeah. Albus Nox, they lost against Dark Passage in what was a really, really cheeky backdoor coming out of Alwyn, and against INTZ, which was a very hard-fought game, but they blew everyone else out of the water. I mean, even the Dark Passage game, Dark Passage won, but it wasn't even close. They were getting absolutely destroyed, and then it just ended up going against them.
And the worst thing about that is that was a situation that was a fairly smart play from Albus Nox, where they actually were in a proper position. All Nar needed to do is not force a fight, stay near towers, and actually Albus Nox would have had an assured win. So didn't work out that way, obviously. They didn't end up winning. And I'm not too sure how I value the last win that Albus Nox got against Lion Gaming, simply because two teams were looking to hide a lot of their picks. So we saw.
What do you mean, Yasuo?
Yasuo Kog'Maw, I get that. But yeah, they knew they were going up against each other when they played each other on the last day, so they definitely hit a few picks. It's going to be interesting to see, because both teams actually have a similar style that stems from the laning phase.
We'll see how it is going to work. I'm very excited to see the bottom lane in action, because there have been a lot of debates on the best bottom lanes for IWCQ. I personally think that White Lotus and Arce are just phenomenal, unbelievable players. But Licorice plays Brand, so I don't
think
really
anyone is saying that like these aren't good bottom lanes. To like say who is the best bottom lane, I think is a little bit harder, because Miracle and Licorice are much more unconventional. They like to play much more in your face and aggressive. White Lotus at the same time is a very good team fighter. So I think they bring different things to the table. But yeah, you're right. They're both pretty phenomenal bottom lanes in that regard.
White Lotus is just a monster. The fact that the biggest point, we do see a lot of plays that he shows in team fights, of course, and individual plays. But during all of that, he actually averages higher than 10 CS per minute, which is ridiculous. Like, honestly, that's something that you don't generally expect. But he's been showcasing that he is a star so far in this tournament.
Yeah, he most certainly is, and that is all going to be coming up tomorrow. As for today, that is most certainly over. An INTZ Worlds